Well, a few videos ago I showed this locomotive. It was in a suitcase. I've had it for some time, never done anything with it. But, today's Sunday day when I'm not allowed to use the lawnmower and things like that. And I have made a start with trying to get the motor, the clockwork mechanism, back together. The spring has broken in as much as the little tang that goes on there has snapped. A previous owner had taken this apart and it was all a box of bits. Anyway, we've got it back together-ish, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut this spring to make a tang to go in the, where is it? There it is, to go in that slot there, to clip over it. Means it's going to be 1/4 inch shorter than it was when it was brand new. But I think that stands a chance of working. I think. We'll see. Now, some of you will know that spring steel is interesting to work, so I'm going to go and put that in the vise and see what we can do with a file and see if we can help that along a bit. Well, I'd like to say, when you're as clever as me, that was just so simple, I just did it. Yeah, I'd like to say that. No, that wasn't simple at all. I started by using a tiny little stone in a Dremel type tool, and I cut the right width in the end of the spring. And I wound it all up and I stuffed the spring through that slot and I bent it and it snapped. So I took it out and I put it in a vise using a metal vise as a heat sink, and I got the end of it bright red. And I let it cool down and I filed it to the right width and I put it in and I folded the tab over and it snapped. So I took the spring out again and I got it bright cherry red and I left it, I kept the torch on it and left the torch on it for quite some time and let it cool down a little bit more slowly, let the heat sink into it. And was it the 3rd attempt or the 4th attempt? Anyway, we finally got it what I'm going to call right. Yeah. The tab's folded over on the spring. You cannot just bend springs, you have to anneal them. I recommend, instead of following my advice, I recommend that you actually read some of the clever people who know how to do this. You're supposed to not only get it hot, seriously hot, but you're supposed to let it cool down slowly. I probably hadn't let it cool down slowly enough, but eventually we got it right. And then I got the key and I wound it up and it all seems to be working, all seems to be. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop the wheels back on this axle and then I'm going to pop the motor back in the locomotive body and see if we've got something that works. Now the last problem remaining with this little locomotive is it's missing its hook, which needs to hook on there. So I think I need to do a little bit of tin bending.